Morning, everyone. It is Friday, May the 8th, and here are the headlines for today. I wanted to begin by recapping the storm on Wednesday. If you lived in Denver, Colorado, you probably saw anywhere between about 4 and 6 inches of snowfall in the city area. But if you drive up into the mountains, especially beyond the mountain passes, you would have experienced well over a foot of snowfall during the day Wednesday. Now, in contrast to all the snowfall we were seeing in Colorado, just off to the east, we were experiencing severe weather. In fact, we had a tornado outbreak in Mississippi with 14 confirmed tornadoes, one of which was probably an EF3 to EF4 over Lincoln County, Mississippi, damaging hundreds of homes and injuring about 17 people. For the year thus far, we've seen about 60, maybe 65 tornadoes in the state of Mississippi. And for those living across the deep south, you've been experiencing a lot of heavy rain, and that's only going to continue throughout the weekend. In fact, during the day Saturday and Sunday, we'll be experiencing heavy rain once again. Well, guys, that's it for the headlines. Let's now get into the details. Well, guys, I wanted to begin by looking at the snowfall map here in Colorado State. And around the Denver area where you see the light pink, we see a general area of about 4 to 6 inches of snowfall reported by the National Weather Service. Now, these totals go up very quickly as you move across the mountain passes, especially as you go across the county of Boulder here in Colorado. You can see how the snowfall goes from 4 inches to as much as a couple of feet of snowfall, where you see the lighter greens here. Now, where you're seeing the lighter greens and the yellows, that's likely the highest elevations, getting up over 10,000 feet in some cases here in Colorado. Now, the big winner was likely over the northern portion of Colorado. We can probably see the high mountains here got anywhere between 2 and 3 feet of snowfall. And you can even see here as you move across this line here, I'm going to kind of outline it for you. This is the crossover from Colorado into Wyoming. So as you move into these southern counties here in the state of Wyoming, we saw some high snowfall totals there as well, especially into Albany County here in southern Wyoming. Now, as mentioned before, we won't have the same dynamics in place that we were seeing in previous weeks here, especially during the month of April. But we do have a shortwave trough dipping into Mexico here. And that's going to work to add some energy downstream of it into eastern Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana. We'll likely see showers and thunderstorms pop up here during the day Friday and also Saturday. Now, the shortwave trough will begin to track off to the east with time. And also the showers and thunderstorms that fire out ahead of it will move across Texas, into Louisiana, Arkansas, all across the deep south here into Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, perhaps even into South Carolina. Now, it will avoid much of the Tennessee Valley, the mid-Atlantic. So a lot of you guys just to the north of this will experience very little, if any, rainfall over the next couple of days. And kind of what you have working against you here is that high-pressure system over the southern Appalachians. But then again, we're going to have another area of precipitation to the north of that, over Missouri into Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and even into parts of Pennsylvania here. Just because they're in a favorable position to this broader trough over southern Canada and to the Great Lakes in the northeast. Basically all along that southeastern edge here, we'll see showers and thunderstorms fire up into the day Friday and Saturday. Basically what we're going to see here is that trough begin to propagate, at least it's back in here, begin to propagate through the states of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa. And along the front edge of that, we're going to see showers and thunderstorms pop up during the day Saturday here along the Ohio Valley and into the northeast. Now, you guys probably have noticed a trend. If you have a shortwave trough here over Arizona and into New Mexico like we're seeing here, dipping into even the country of Mexico, we're seeing showers and thunderstorms pop out ahead of it. And we even have the potential for some severe weather from Wichita Falls in northern Texas through Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and as far north and eastward as Springfield, Missouri. Now, the major threat here will not necessarily be tornadoes, but large hail and damaging winds as we move through the day Friday. Now, if we take a look at the rainfall from Friday into Saturday, you'll notice this area of rain and thunderstorms over Missouri, parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. And this initial wave actually propagates up to the north and east with time. basically staying west of the Appalachians, the central Appalachians in this case here. Again, avoiding Tennessee Valley, Virginia, North Carolina. But anywhere north of that will likely receive at least light to moderate rainfall, generally less than a half an inch of rain. Also take note over southeastern Texas here near Houston, back into, let's say, Louisiana, southern portions of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, into the northern portions of Florida even. We have another batch of heavy rain moving through this area. Now, some of these showers and thunderstorms will produce very heavy rainfall, so we could see upwards of 1.5 inches, perhaps 2 inches of rainfall in some isolated areas. And the last thing I want to point out here, guys, is that we do have this dry area from Tennessee Valley into North Carolina and Virginia here. So you guys in particular will probably be missing out on the rain, especially in this first round and perhaps even the second round that comes on Sunday. Now, showing you the setup for Saturday and Sunday here, we can see the shortwave trough here over Texas, dipping into central Texas here in particular, and will likely be the driver for those showers and thunderstorms through the day Saturday here across the deep south. Now, we also have this low pressure that's diving out of Canada here across the Great Lakes. And what that's going to help to pull in is the backside of this trough later next week. So we'll likely see a dip here in these 500 millibar heights. So this blue region will expand into Minnesota, Wisconsin, perhaps even Iowa as we get towards, let's say, Monday, Tuesday time frame of next week. But in the meantime, out ahead of the trough, we'll have a favorable region here between Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and into Pennsylvania for rainfall, not only during the day Saturday, but also into the day Sunday. So here's the rainfall totals for the day Saturday. And where you see the green, that's generally 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rainfall here across the deep south. And where you see the blue, we're seeing 1/2 inch or more. And in fact, when you get into the purple areas, that's between 1.5 inches and 2 inches of rainfall across southern Texas into Louisiana, portions of Mississippi and Alabama, and across Missouri into the Ohio Valley here, again on that southern edge of the trough that we were just talking about over the Great Lakes. Again, we could see a broad area here of green, anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 inch in general, but we do have this area of blue, right, from southern Illinois into Indiana, Ohio, and western Pennsylvania. So anywhere between 1/2 inch and 1 inch of rain, beneficial rain, right across the Ohio Valley here during the day Saturday. Now, even on the western flank of that trough, we do have rainfall over Montana, Wyoming, and back into Nebraska here, even northwestern portions of Kansas here. And we're seeing generally light amounts, 1/4 inch or less in general across this area. And of course, if you go out west, right across Washington State, Oregon State, into California, very dry out here for you guys. And that will likely not change until we get to maybe Wednesday of next week. Now, guys, when you look at Sunday's forecast, it's going to look like a repeat of Saturday. We have showers and thunderstorms popping up here over the central and southern plains. And a lot of this activity either splits to the south here into Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. But we have a second wave that actually moves to the east, right, into the Ohio Valley once again. So we're going to see the split in the precipitation really over the Tennessee Valley. And again, we're going to see that dry region here between Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia into the day Sunday. Now, portions to the north here, let's say across the Ohio Valley, will likely see rain again, but it'll be to a lesser extent. Another thing that this map shows here is that blue line here associated with the trough diving into the northern plains here as we move through the weekend. And we're going to actually see kind of a bulge develop here over the Dakotas and into Minnesota as we get into the Monday, Tuesday time frame. And that's going to actually set up a clipper-like system that moves into perhaps the mid-Atlantic as we get into maybe Tuesday, Wednesday time frame of next week. So when we look at the rainfall totals for Sunday, again, the map looks very similar to what we saw on Saturday. We have this area of rainfall across Missouri into the Ohio Valley and portions of the Northeast, kind of dying out before it gets to the Albany area in New York. And much of the Northeast here will remain dry across Massachusetts, Connecticut, into Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. You guys are going to probably stay dry for the most part as we get into the day Sunday. Now, this second area of showers and thunderstorms that we talked about over Oklahoma and Texas look to refire again over southern Alabama, Georgia, southern portions of Mississippi, maybe even southern portions of South Carolina here, and of course across the northern portions of Florida over the Panhandle region. Again, anywhere between a half an inch and an inch and a half of rain can be expected here, with some isolated areas over 2 inches of rainfall from some of these thunderstorms that do develop Sunday afternoon. Now for the day Sunday, the Storm Prediction Center has a broad region of thunderstorms possible. One thing you'll notice is that we have a marginal risk over Oklahoma into Kansas. Again, it doesn't look like this is going to be a big problem at this time. Again, I think the major threat on Sunday will be hail, maybe some damaging winds, but really no tornado threat as of right now. By comparison to last week, we were seeing yellow and orange on the map. So from a slight to maybe even enhanced risk of severe weather. We don't see that this weekend. And as of right now into early next week, we really don't see any major severe weather threat. Now this is due in large part to the position of the trough. One thing we'll notice is that the trough is well entrenched here over the East Coast from Sunday into Monday. Now we do have this piece of energy coming out of southern Canada, again into Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, as we move into that Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. And we'll likely have a low pressure system develop here somewhere over the Great Lakes in the Midwest that will push off to the mid-Atlantic, possibly delivering some rainfall to you guys by Wednesday of next week. Again, it's hard to tell rainfall amounts at this time, but I know you guys are in exceptional drought as well. So many of you guys that have been missing out on the rainfall this past week could get it by the middle portion of next week. I think it's worth mentioning here over the west that we have ridging that's building into Washington State and Oregon State through the weekend and early next week. This will provide above average temperatures across the west, but also take note that this ridge will begin to propagate east with time. And likely as we get into Wednesday of next week, we'll see the beginning of a trough moving onshore here across Washington State and Oregon State. And what that means for you guys is that you will have a chance of rain moving into Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Now, taking a look ahead to Wednesday, this is the possible radar Wednesday afternoon. This will likely change, especially the position of the rain that you're seeing on the map here. But a low pressure will likely be somewhere around the Great Lakes region. We'll likely have an area of showers and thunderstorms that develops out ahead of it. And we'll likely have a line that pushes into the state of Virginia and also to the east here into New England. And with it, again, we'll get more beneficial rain for these areas that did not receive necessarily rainfall this past week. Another thing you'll notice as we get into Wednesday or perhaps even Thursday, you can see this rainfall beginning to push on shore here into Portland and also into Seattle. Well, guys, we'll leave it at that today. I hope you enjoyed today's forecast. If you did, please leave a like or subscribe as it does help the channel. I hope you stay tuned for the next video on Monday. Bye for now.